What's up, guys? I think that seems a little bit loud. As usual, I'm going to trust you guys to tell me how the audio levels are. See, there's 26 people here, so people are just starting to show up, but anybody that comes in late can just watch the replay, I guess. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. This is sort of an experiment that we're trying. I just kind of had the idea that maybe it would make for a more coherent live streaming experience if we got a game that we could kind of get a little bit more into. Because I feel like what I always just do is, I start live streaming and we just randomly play games. And I'm not saying that's not fun, but I just thought it would be cooler if we tried to have some kind of structure. So my idea for this time was like, we're going to start playing this game that's in the title, Buck Rogers Countdown to Doomsday, with the idea that we can just play little chunks of it over the course of multiple live streams. And then maybe what we could do, like with each live stream, is we'll play a little bit of Buck Rogers, and then maybe we can play a little bit of something else as well. But we'll just play it by ear. So, but for this time, I think we're just going to play Buck Rogers for the entire time. So, who we got? We got Christian's here. What's up, man? Back in the day gamer. He just picked this game up. Well, hopefully this is not going to be spoilers for you. And then nostalgic. So yeah, not used to seeing me without the hat on. I just didn't feel like putting a hat on. I have one over here in arm's reach if I decide I need to put one on. But sometimes I put a hat on just because it's hot down here and I want to not be sweaty or whatever. But it's pretty cool down here today, so no need. So anyway, the game that we're going to be playing, maybe continue Bloodlines. Yeah, that would be another example, is a game like that where we could play it over the course of a few live streams. I think that would be cool. So yeah, for sure, a game like Bloodlines we could keep playing. But so today we're going to be playing Buck Rogers. Trying to get it without the reflection there. That's kind of difficult. Buck Rogers Countdown to Doomsday. And this is a game that I got in, this game came out in 1991, but if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say I got this game in 1993. And I don't know how many of you guys ever did this back in the day, but whenever we would go to the video store, like to rent, videos for the weekend, oftentimes there'd be a section somewhere where they would sell previously viewed videos and then previously played games, which were like their former rental games. And so one day I found Buck Rogers here, Countdown to Doomsday, in the bin. And I didn't know anything about it really. I know that Buck Rogers is like a TV show. Maybe there's been movies. I don't really know. I didn't really know anything about it. But just looking at the box art obviously is styled after the SSI Gold Box PC games, like the role-playing games for the PC. But I mean, just the artwork there looks pretty awesome. And then, you can see that it says it's a TSR game. And of course, TSR was the company that used to publish Dungeons and Dragons. So of course I was familiar with that, although I never actually played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. But I was really fascinated by like pencil and paper role-playing games, even though I never got to play them. I actually owned several because sometimes I would go to this store that we had where I grew up called the Game Preserve, and they had like, it was a little store, but it was like packed to the gills with pen and paper RPGs and then like tabletop board games. And sometimes I would buy, I bought a few pen and paper RPG games just because I was fascinated by them, and I would take them out and take all the pieces out and check them out. But I never got to play any of them because I had nobody to play with. But so that was the impetus behind part of the impetus behind grabbing this. Also it says right here, science fiction role-playing game. And, when I was a teenager, I was really big into Star Trek, as you're about to see. And so that made me really want it. And then also like just the box art on the back. I mean, it just looks like an awesome game. And it turns out that it is. So I think pretty much anything else I can say about the game, I can say while we're playing it. Now, setting up your team of guys actually kind of takes a while. So I went ahead and I did that already. And so we're going to start the game. You can see it's running in like a teaser mode right now. And all I have to do is restore the game that I had already started, as long as nothing bad happened. I could swear I tried to do this like a week or two ago, and either I didn't save my game or it got lost, so I'm a little bit nervous. We're playing this on, yes, party members, thank you. We're playing this on my Mega EverDrive just because the battery in my actual cartridge isn't dead, but I kind of don't trust it. So if we were going to use the actual cartridge, I would have changed the battery. So anyway, we're going to load up the party that I already created. And you know, I said I was a big Star Trek fan. So when I was growing up, like when the show was on TV, I was a huge Star Trek: The Next Generation fan. And so from the time I got this game until now, I've always just made it a tradition to name all my party members after, you know, Star Trek: The Next Generation characters, and kind of give them appropriate jobs. So you can see like the medic is Crusher, and then like Picard is one of the rocket jocks. I don't think there's a way for me to create a new character. Well, I guess we can delete one of the characters and make a new one, and that way you guys can just kind of see how it works. So we're going to get rid of Geordi LaForge here, and then we're just going to create him again. So then you get into this character creation screen, and here you can kind of like game the system a little bit because you have this option down here. Oh boy, I don't have the, yes, thank you, I didn't put the screen up. I keep forgetting to do that. Okay, anyway, well, you didn't miss anything, so thank goodness for that. So, so now we're on this character creation screen, and one of the options you have here is to re-roll your stats. And then you're going to see all the statistics over here on the left-hand side of the screen changing. And you can basically just keep hitting this button until you get like a bunch of maxed out stats that you like. Like, those are pretty good balanced stats for somebody. So, so that'll be pretty good. And then you can actually bounce back and forth between these to maximize your hit points. So that's pretty good right there. Although we can't be we need to create a rocket. Well, he can be a rocket jock. So yeah, we're good then, I guess. But then that lowers. There's all this math going on behind the scenes, but that's going to be our character. So that we have a male desert runner species rocket jock. So we're going to go ahead and hit exit, and then that character was named LaForge. So we're going to go ahead and put that back. Sorry, this screen is really tiny. That's why I normally look at the CRT, but then that's how we get into trouble. And then the last thing that you can do is you choose your combat figure. And so I just always try to choose whoever looks the most like the actual character. And there's only one African-American guy, so I just pick him for Geordi. So now we have our whole party set up, and oh, we have to do the training and skill. So you pick all these skills. So since there's a rock, you can put a maximum of 4 tokens on each one. So he gets 4 tokens on rocket jockery there, and then repair rocket, and we'll put 1 on programming and maybe 1 on zero gravity maneuvering. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not 100% sure what all of those things do, and I've actually read, you know, FAQs for this game, and even they're not sure what all of those things do, so whatever. All right, so anyway, now we're ready to get started. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. Yeah, Michael says maybe this deserves its own episode. Well, yeah, except the game's really long, so we couldn't really do a flashback episode on it. So, but yeah, you know, this really harkens from a time when Electronic Arts was really making a lot of cool games for the Genesis, and or at least I should say publishing a lot of good games for the Genesis. They didn't make a lot of these games. What they would do a lot of times is bring over computer games. So like for instance, Buck Rogers here was on the PC and the Commodore 64, and I think it was on the Amiga, because I think this is sort of like the Amiga version, although this Genesis version has the best music and sound. So, so that's pretty cool. All right, so here you go through, you know, there's the whole plot. Basically, there's these bad guys called RAM, which is the like Russo something mercantile, and they're bad, and then your guys are good, and that's really all you need to know. It says, you know, you join Neo to fight the RAM menace, and you're being briefed, and a bunch of stuff happens, but then you're gonna get attacked, and that's sort of where the game gets started. Yeah, see, so the S is hitting the fan here. Fighters scream in low from the north. See, that's a pretty cool looking screen too. You know, you just barely started playing the game, and then you see stuff like this, and the music gets all serious. Can you guys even hear? Is there some? Hopefully the music's loud enough. I mean, I can see the little bars going down there. Anyway, officers are down, other recruits are fleeing, and basically an invasion's taking place. So. Yeah, I'm not going to read all the text boxes. I think that would be very annoying. But basically, we have to go find the missile controls in order to repel the invasion. So I've beaten this game before, but not in a really long time. So and I didn't read like an FAQ beforehand. So we're just going to be kind of stumbling through here. So yeah. Like, I kind of remember where to go, but not really, so. All right, and so this has random battles, just like most role-playing games do, but then the actual combat itself is a lot more reminiscent of an American role-playing game, like Ultima or any of the other SSI games. So, so this is basically a battle starting, and it doesn't like show a grid, but it's basically all grid-based, and you move your guys around. And you know, these blue guys here are like the Neo forces who you take. They're like basically going to help you, and they get temporarily added to your party, and you control them too, I guess. So you can see that our guys are all bunched up here, and the enemy guys are not. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to spread your guys out a little bit, because if these dudes start throwing grenades at us, then you don't want, you know, it's just like, I guess, combat in real life, although I have never, you know, obviously done that, but you don't want to stay bunched up. But, you know, it's all based on sort of virtual dice rolls that happen in the background. What did I accidentally do? Whoops, sorry. You know, and so it'll even say we want to move, well, that's the medic, so we want to keep her away from everybody if we can, but you see, like, it says to hit 45% rear attack. Those are like modifiers that kind of, you know, dictate the chance of you hitting the enemy. So you can see we hit him, but only once. So that's kind of whoopee. All right, so we killed the first one, so that's good. See, and these blue guys, they're not really part of your party, so you can kind of use those as like your sacrificial lambs, because you don't really care if they get killed, as messed up as that is. And then, you know, we'll have to still find times to, you know, I'll just make sure I check the chat. You know, maybe after battles like this, you know, I can, we can just stop. Obviously, it's a role-playing game, so it's not like there's anything time-sensitive going on. So I guess what I'm talking about. You see, he threw a grenade. So you want to make sure you don't have your dudes all bunched up. We just have these blue guys all bunched up, but that doesn't really matter. So. There's still a guy down here. All right, so we're only down to one enemy left, so that's pretty good. But see, now we got all of our guys spread out up here where they don't need to be. So, And I mean, I guess the farther away you are from the enemies, the harder it is to hit them. But, you know, these are like, you know, obviously the game just started, right? So these are like early enemies. So we're hitting them a lot. But as the game goes on, you know, you fight enemies that have higher dexterity and, you know, and it's harder to hit them. So now, I mean, like you would even see in, say, like a Final Fantasy game, you've won the battle. So now you get this screen saying you won, you got some experience, you got some credits, but then you're also going to get, you know, like some stuff. So first, your guys will get some of their hit points back, although not all of them. You see Riker, he got hit pretty hard, so he's not fully charged up. And then, so here's all the stuff that they dropped. So basically, you know, you have these spacesuits. Like, we killed 4 guys. So we got 1 smart suit, 3 spacesuits, and 4 laser pistols. So you can still pick that stuff up because you can go sell it later. So especially like a smart suit's gonna be worth more than a regular spacesuit. So, and then you have to decide who you're gonna give it to. And everybody only has a certain capacity that they can carry. So I always try to spread stuff around a little bit. And then later we might have to drop some stuff. And then it's gonna, because we're not picking up the spacesuits, it says you wanna go back and claim the booty, and we just have to say no. All right, so I'm just pausing it here real quick so we can, all right, people say that it sounds good. Nostalgic Soul wants to know how my fantasy football team is going so far. It's going terribly, actually. I'm 0-2. The draft went really badly, so I didn't expect much, but like, I drafted Odell Beckham, and he hasn't done anything, so that has not been going well at all. Someone says, that's what your head looks like. Yep, that's what my head looks like. Oh, Michael Off-Grid should have said EA support of the Genesis deserves an episode on your other channel. Yeah, I mean, that would be a cool episode, actually. Like the history of Electronic Arts on the Genesis. I could totally make an episode around that, I think. 49ers, yeah. Western RPGs were kind of confusing. I don't really think so. Western RPGs were just a lot different. They followed D&D rules. So it helped if you were familiar with those. But certainly they're quite a bit different than the Japanese games. So, yeah, Taylor says I'm not playing CDI. I don't own a CDI. Someone needs to send me a CDI if you want me to play it. I mean, I don't have any immediate plans to purchase a CDI. I'm not actually telling somebody to send me a CDI. Please don't do that. Oh, hey, Dumpin' Chase, what's up, man? I just sent your stickers to you a couple days ago, so hopefully you're gonna get those soon. As long as we get this open, we can go ahead and save our game. Oh, I don't really know what for, but might as well take the opportunity while I had the menu open. So I think we have to go into the building like somewhere down here, but I can't remember where. And then, you know, we have to find these, you know, missile control or missile controls, like it said. And you know, it's pretty much just walking around looking for this until we find them. And in the meantime, we're gonna have to deal with random battles. So you see, we found 2 recruits that were shot in the back as they tried to enter the building. Very graphic. But now we're in the building, so that's good. So now we just have to find the missile controls. Some of these kids can't take real war. I'll hold on here. You move out. So he's basically telling you that, you know, you're in the wrong place. So, yeah. The wine of lasers and boom grenades. Yeah, I mean, the place is being invaded, right? So, we go in this room, wrong room, and now we just got ambushed, so now we have to go through another battle. Taylor says he's going to send me a CDI. Pretty sure you're joking, or at least I hope so. I always feel bad when people send me stuff that I don't use on the show right away, because I feel like that's kind of why maybe people sent it. So, please don't send me a CDI. Not that I wouldn't mind having one, but like I said, I would just kind of feel guilty. See, now I kind of made a mistake there because I wasn't paying attention. You should really try to kill the enemies one at a time so that they can't keep hitting you. So see, now we got him out. Like, they haven't even had their turn yet, and we already got rid of one of them, so that's great. And then we do want to spread them out just a little bit so that we don't get attacked by a grenade. Dump and Chase, you hated this game? Really? Why? I think this game is... I always had fun with this game. Now, obviously, when I had it when I was younger, I didn't have any kind of guide or anything. All I had was the manual. So, because I did definitely use a guide when I finally beat this game. So, well, you can see that battle was a lot faster than the first one. So that's good. We got 37 experience points, 120 credits. Now everybody's fully healed because we didn't even get hit. And we'll just, you know, might as well pick this stuff up just because, like I said, we can sell it. And you can always drop stuff. So if everybody gets full, then it's really no problem. To the south is the officer's lounge. To the west is a canteen. But you see how there's that red cross? That's probably like the infirmary. And usually in a case like this, you could go in there and get your guy's health refilled if you needed to. All of our guys are fully charged up, so we don't need to worry about that. Michael says, God help you if you rented a game like this as a kid. Without a manual, games like this are impossible to learn. Well, yeah, I mean, for a couple reasons, yeah. If you had this game without the manual, that would make it more difficult. But you also, this is probably not a game you were going to beat in a weekend. Unless you had parents that would let you play a lot of games, you know. I remember this game taking about 10 hours, like 8 or 10 hours to beat. So certainly you could do it in a weekend, but you'd have to have the kind of mom and dad that would let you sit in front of the TV for that long. So yeah. So since the officer's lounge and the canteen are down there, probably the missile controls aren't down there, so we're just going to keep charging forward. Now we got in another random battle here, so... Oh, Derek's watching Star Trek The Next Generation right now? You know, I've been kind of on a tear with that show myself. Which episode are you watching? Again, we're going to keep the medic back, just because if somebody does get hurt, you know, if your medic gets hurt, you're in kind of big trouble. So, because if somebody gets killed, like in this game, when somebody dies, they don't actually die right away. They're just like unconscious, and then you can give them first aid to either bring them back to life or at least treat them so that they don't actually die. So, so you definitely don't want to let anything bad happen to your medic. Yeah, James says he prefers Japanese RPGs. I mean, certainly most of my experience comes from playing Japanese RPGs. Although the first RPGs I played were... Well, I mean, I played Ultima first, probably, and that was American. But then the second RPG I played, probably second anyway, was Dragon Warrior, which obviously is Japanese. Derek, you're watching it on BBC America. Well, I always just watch it on Netflix. Maybe you don't have Netflix, but the episodes on Netflix appear to have been like remastered somehow because they look really good. And then of course you don't have commercials, so I would recommend watching it that way. But you know, you do whatever you think is best. I don't know if this guy has like really high dexterity or something because we can't seem to hit him. All right, you can see that time Worf took the brunt of things, but he'll be all right, so I'm not too worried about going back to that infirmary or anything. Here we got 2 dazzle grenades, which if I remember correctly, I think dazzle grenades blind the enemy. I could be wrong. We'll pick up the smart suit. I'm going to leave the rest of this stuff because I think well, I'll take the guns. Probably starting to get bogged down. Oh, all right, BBC America, they have the remastered... Oh, we're in the ladies' room. Damn it. That's what I get for not reading the sign. BBC America has remastered original Star Trek episodes. That's pretty cool. I watched a little bit. Oh, he's only one guy. That'll be quick. I watched a little bit of the original series when I was a kid because my mom was into it for a while. And it's definitely good. I have one of the seasons on DVD. But, you know, that was something that they would show, like, in syndication, you know, on, like, Saturday afternoons or something. But, like, when I was a teenager, that's when The Next Generation was still on, like, you know, current or whatever. That's the men's room. We're not going to go in there either. And they actually showed it every single night of the week. So, like, Monday through Saturday night, they would show old episodes, you know, reruns, and then Sunday night at 6 would be the new episode. And I remember that the station that aired the show where I grew up would brag that the Star Trek The Next Generation reruns during the week got higher ratings than the local newscasts did, which is probably kind of you're kind of fudging numbers when you say that, because, you know, all the newscasts are competing with each other, whereas there's only one station showing Star Trek. And I mean, what else is on? You know, all the networks were showing the news, so. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. I can't remember how to, like, cancel if you hit the target button instead of the move button. So you get those blue guys in the front, you know. Yeah, a couple people are mentioning Shadowrun. You know, I hate saying stuff like this, but I have Shadowrun for the Genesis, but I've really never played it, or not played it very much. I think, you know, I mentioned earlier, for those that were here already, that you know, I bought some pen and paper RPGs when I was a kid, even though I didn't have anybody to play them with. And I could swear that one of the things I had was Shadowrun, even though, like I said, I didn't play it. And I know that people, well, Shadowrun, for at least for the Genesis, I know is a highly regarded game. So I'd really like to check it out. In fact, that was a game I was thinking about, where, you know, we could live stream, you know, we could play through the whole game over multiple streams. So, Derek asks, what's your favorite Star Trek game of any kind? So I'm not sure if you're asking me or just asking the chat room, or both. For me, The Next Generation, by far. It's actually the only Star Trek series that I've ever really gotten all that into. I mean, I like the original series, and, you know, certainly I've seen quite a few of the episodes, but I just thought The Next Generation was the best. It was the best series. Like, I remember when Deep Space Nine started, because that was when The Next Generation was still on. And something about Deep Space Nine it just seemed really low budget to me. I was kind of surprised, because, and I think that part of the reason, actually, I think I read that somewhere, that part of the reason that they had the show take place on a space station, you know, aside from the fact that they already had a series that was actually taking place out in space, was that they wouldn't have to spend so much money on special effects. So, and it definitely showed. The game, like I said, it just seemed really low budget. So, yeah, James says that the two Shadowrun games for the Genesis and Super Nintendo are completely different. And yeah, I've read that. I only have the Genesis version, so I don't know anything about the Super Nintendo version. Derek says he'd recommend Star Trek 25th Anniversary Edition for the PC. I think I actually had that when I was younger. Now I'm not really sure. We can't go that way because that's going outside. We'll go check this door. No, we won't. We'll get in another battle. So certainly in this game, you know, there's a lot of random battles, and they tend to kind of take a while. So yeah, Kill says DS9 got better after Warp 20. I mean, I've read a lot about Deep Space Nine, that it was a good show, and that it was just more about like the writing and the plot lines, and I'm not saying it's a bad show. I just I couldn't get into it when I was a teenager, and I don't know if it still is. I know for at least for a while it was on Netflix, and it may still be. And I did try to get into it and start watching it, and it definitely was not bad. But, you know, for me, you know, these days when I watch TV, it's usually something I want to kind of have on in the background, like while I'm working on the show. You know, if I'm writing or recording gameplay footage or whatever. You know, because I have a TV here in the basement that has like a Roku hooked up to it. And so I'll open up Netflix and put on The Next Generation, or like Cheers, or that '70s show, or like, you know, some show that I enjoy, that I've been watching for a long time, where I don't need to be super invested in it because I've already seen all the episodes 10 million times. So if I was going to start, you know, watching a new show like, you know, DS9, I wouldn't want to do that because I would want to actually pay attention. So, and I guess I just kind of, I feel like I don't really have the time for that. Like if I was going to get super invested in watching a show, I'd want it to be something I could watch with my wife, and pretty sure she's not going to want to watch a Star Trek show with me. I think I tried to get her into The Next Generation a little bit, and I think she just wasn't, like, she doesn't understand what's going on. Like, she doesn't understand the Star Trek universe. You know, you have to explain everything to her. And I don't know. I think she's not interested enough that she's willing to make that kind of mental investment, if that makes any sense. Some people just aren't into that kind of stuff. So, like, most people probably aren't into that kind of stuff. Somehow you get some kind of bonus when you're behind the enemies. So it's always better. See, I overshot the guy a little bit, but it's better if you can get to where you're at his back. Like, see, he has his back turned here already anyway. So there you go. We killed him. So. Yeah, Derek said he had it for the NES. You're talking about Star Trek 25th Anniversary. You know, now that you say that, I think that's how I had it when I was a kid. I think I rented that game one time, and I think that was one of those games that didn't come with the manual, and so like I just didn't even know what I was supposed to be doing. So I have played it on the PC. Like, you know, I have like a DOS gaming PC with a bunch of games that I put on it, and I'm pretty sure that it has that Star Trek game on it. Boy, I really didn't get very far. Yeah, Rob says he thinks he's watched TNG completely like 5 times on Netflix. I mean, you know, like I said, it was on when I was a kid. It was on, you know, they would show the reruns every night, and this was like for years, and for me for a long time, it was like a nightly ritual. Like, we're gonna get a little bit more into that on Flashback, talking about that kind of stuff. Like, I really, you know, starting in like 8th grade maybe and going through most of high school, I got really sort of stuck into a routine, you know, and part of that was, oh man, one of the Neo guys got killed. And part of that was I would watch TV every night. Like, I'd come home, I'd watch the same shows, and you know, Star Trek: The Next Generation, man, was on at 6 o'clock at night for years, and I would watch it every night. So I mean, just seeing it that way, I probably went through the series, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and then I've probably gone through it at least a few more times on Netflix. Again, just having it on in the background. Vinny says he uses my show to keep on in the background. That's awesome. I definitely, you know, I have kind of my shows where I do that exact same thing. So that's pretty cool. He said my voice keeps you company. That's pretty awesome, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. Derek says his wife didn't want to watch it at first. You know, my wife, she's just not into, you know, I don't know, like, you know, video games and, you know, science fiction-y kind of stuff. You know, she doesn't hate it or anything. I mean, she just, you know, I can get her into a little bit of video games sometimes, but not too much. And, you know, for stuff like that, although, you know what's funny? If, like, when a new Star Trek movie comes out, you know, like with Chris Pine as Captain, whatever his name is. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate. His name flew out of my head. You know what I'm talking about. She'll go see that and she'll love that. So, or, I mean, we've seen a few of the Star Wars movies in the theater and she likes that just fine. But I think watching Star Trek at home is not something that she would be able to get too into for whatever reason. Sorry, I'll check the chat here in just a second. Captain Kirk, sorry, it flew out of my head. I don't know what happened. Sorry, let's check the chat here. Yeah, I'm not saying the NES game's not fun. I just, like I said, I got it without the manual. Yeah, I remember what happened. I remember MacGyver. I never really got into it that much, but definitely it was a cool show. I didn't know that Richard Dean Anderson was from Minnesota either. Oh, Jim, thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that. I don't know if I'm the best YouTube channel, but I try to at least be a pretty good one. So, yeah, Josh. So some of you guys might have seen on Twitter, I said I was going to, I was thinking about sort of putting the flashback episodes into like podcast form and putting them up, because I actually get a lot of people that tell me that they listen to it, you know, like while they're commuting or whatever. And I totally get that. I mean, partially I think those episodes kind of lend themselves more to being listened to than being watched. And they're also very long. So, you know, I totally get why people would choose to consume them that way. But for that reason, I just feel like, well, why wouldn't I make them into a podcast? So what I'm going to start doing, unlike on the Classic Gaming Quarterly channel, you know, I save copies of all of my shows, but on CGQ Plus, I don't. But what I can do is I can just download all my videos back off of YouTube and then just strip out the audio, and then I'll probably edit them down, like to get rid of stuff like the mail section, because that wouldn't really make too much sense to have in audio form. So I'm gonna try to throw a grenade at these guys just for fun, and plus they're all bunched up. So, oh, out of range. Well, oh, there we go. I don't know what, if anything, that might have done, but. Oh, they're doing it back. It seems like it's just doing a little bit of damage, actually. Oh, no. See, this Terrene Warrior, he's blinded now. So, that's what I thought. That I think it does both. I think it does a little bit of damage, and then they're blinded. So what that means is their chance of hitting you with their guns is very low. So in a way, it's almost kind of more of a defensive weapon. But you can see that they're blinding some of my guys too. And that's the kind of thing where the effect will be gone as soon as the battle is over. All right. Well, unfortunately, this Neo Warrior here is going to have to take one for the team, I think. Ooh. I don't think I threw that where I meant to throw it. See, like, everybody's blinded now because of the dazzle grenade, so... oh, we have to... she's out of grenades now, so we have to put a gun back in her hand. which isn't going to matter because she's blind, so you could see, well, I'll try to, you'll see here, okay, so Riker's blinded, so even though I move him over here, you can see his hit chance is only 15%, and that's because he got blinded, so thankfully we have a couple of guys that are not blinded, so they're going to kind of have to carry the load. But unfortunately, that means that this battle is kind of taking a while. But now it's almost over, I think. So, and then we'll get back to the chat. There you go. Over. So that wasn't so horrible. Derek says he never dressed up and went to conventions. You know, I never did. I've never been like a Star Trek convention. When I was a teenager, it sounded like kind of a cool thing to do. But you know, where I grew up, that wasn't really an option. Akil says I wish I could make more Let's Reads too. They're actually, you might not think so, but those Let's Read episodes are a lot more work than they look like they are. Just because I still have to do some research and I still have to do a lot of gameplay recording and then editing. So, so thank goodness that they're sponsored, because that kind of makes it worth the time. Because time I spend making a Let's Read is time I'm not working on like a launch episode or something. D. Simpson, put your hat back on, bro. Like, you know, there's no need to be rude. I'm not embarrassed. The Capcom beat 'em up bundle, I don't know. I'm not really super excited about that. Like the main game that I want to play on there is Final Fight, and I actually have the arcade PCB, so I guess I kind of feel like I'm good. Dump and Chase took off. He's probably already gone, but oh well. See you later. Oh, hey Morpheus, what's up, man? Good to see you. Bob says he's downloading all the CGQ. Well, as long as you don't re-upload them, I don't mind. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Yeah, Simpson, don't worry about it. We're good, dude. So I'll make sure I set, you know, Worf there. His specialty is a cutlass, so I want to make sure he has a cutlass. So like later in the game, you'll be in areas where it's like foggy, and you'll have no visibility, and so then you can't use like laser guns and whatnot, and so you have to have like some kind of sword weapons. So. And yeah, Akil, hopefully I'm saying your name right, Akil. But, I really enjoy making those episodes, so it's not like I ever want to like stop making them. I'm just saying it's not, they're not just something that I can just pump out real quick. They kind of started that way because, you know, when I made the first couple of Let's Read episodes, they really weren't edited, and they didn't have any gameplay footage, and they were a lot easier to make, but you know, I don't think they were as good. So, you know, I wanted to up the production quality, but then, you know, that comes with sort of a labor cost. So, obviously, it would be easier to just keep making them the way I was making them. But I feel like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't like saying stuff like this, I guess, but I feel like there's enough people on YouTube already making low effort content. And I don't want to be another one of those guys. So, you know, I'd rather upload less frequently and make sure I'm uploading, you know, what is, at least in my opinion, the best content that I can put out. So, but, you know, unfortunately, that comes at the cost of my channel's not growing nearly as fast, because, you know, you get guys who upload every day and, you know, but are just turning on the camera and just doing whatever. And, you know, their channels grow a lot faster, so that's just sort of an unfortunate thing about how YouTube is set up. So, But the nice thing is, you know, I'm not trying to turn my YouTube channel into a living or anything. So, you know, it's nice to have, you know, a bigger channel and more subscribers. But, you know, ultimately, it's really just so you have something to stroke your own ego, right? You can look and be like, oh, I have so many subscribers, but so what? And in fact, you know, when you're a YouTube content creator, it's really easy to kind of fall into that trap where you get a lot more worried about that. And it's like you kind of forget why you started a channel in the first place. And so I try not to do that. Oh, okay. So finally, we've gotten to the end. It's the authorized personnel only. We're going to go in here. We're going to have to fight some more dudes. But now we found the missile control panel. So you can see, you burst in, there's a squad of Terrines, which are the bad guys. In the background, you can see a RAM technician working on a missile control panel. So this is where we needed to get to. So unfortunately, we have to fight one more battle. And I don't know if there's going to be, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anybody like extra special, but there is 7 guys that we have to fight. So that is going to get ugly. I definitely should have saved my game, but I didn't ever do that. So we make sure we get the medic way out of the way, and then we want to try to spread out as fast as we can before they start throwing dazzle grenades at us. And I know I saw, I know there's a bunch of new comments in the chat room, and I promise I'll read them in a second. I feel like I shouldn't have left Jordy up there by himself. So we're trying to keep the medic out of the way, so like, you know, she can go ahead and take her shots from afar, but we don't want to get her, you know, in the fray or whatever there. So. I never understood what that meant, you know, when it says so-and-so succeeded at tactics. But this game seems like it's like semi-turn-based, but there's more to it than just that. It's not everybody gets a single turn. Because sometimes you'll get 2 turns before the other guys get to go again. So, so that's got to have something to do with it. All right, so things are going a lot better than I feared that things were going to get ugly, especially just because I didn't get to save my game, and so I just figured, you know, with my luck, we would have gotten a little bit screwed. But unless things take a real dark turn here real quick, I think everything ought to be pretty much okay. Yeah, see, unfortunately, Jordy got blinded, so he's probably going to be basically useless at this point. All right, so LaForge got killed, so, well, so we can go down here and we can try to administer first aid. Worf failed at the first aid. I mean, Worf's not the medic, you know, so I don't know. Am I in range here? Oh, there you go. Okay, so he succeeded at first aid, so he's still unconscious, but hopefully that means that he's not actually going to die, so. Oh, there you go. See, so I did first aid again, and now he's like, he regained consciousness, and now he's, oh, see, I screwed up. Sorry, I gotta do this. I don't know if there's an easier way to, maybe I should have hit start, actually. Oh, see, he's behind a wall, so there's nothing you can do. So we're just gonna skip our turn here. You can see there's also, there we go. Now I got the angle. There's also an option for quick combat, which I'm guessing means that the computer will take over to combat for you. But why would you do that? So That's no fun. Boy, I wish there was a way to make this chat window bigger, because it's like the only thing I actually want to see. Oh, what's this? Pop out chat. The things you learn. All right. So I'm going to go scroll back up here real quick. You have a radio. I have a radio voice. Well, that's, I mean, thank you for saying so. I don't, I think I could work on it probably, but I would love to have a job in radio or something, like be a DJ or something instead of doing what I do. But there's probably not a whole lot of money in that. So, but it would be nice anyway. Wally says people love clickbait. I wouldn't say people love clickbait. It just works. So, yeah. And people says you appreciate it. I don't upload stuff every day. Yeah, I mean, I think people would probably get burned out on me if I uploaded too long. So, yeah, Matt likes the launch videos. Thanks. Most of you guys already know. I'm working on the Sega Dreamcast launch video. That's going pretty well. I didn't go to work yesterday. I took the day off, and so I spent the day writing. And it's going really well, I gotta say, although I was surprised that there's kind of a lot of misinformation online about that topic or certain people involved in the Dreamcast. And it really underscored the fact that when you're doing stuff like, hold on. With one hand, the technician begins firing at you. Oh no, he's still modifying the controls with the other. I forgot why. He's trying to do something with the missiles, maybe to turn them on us or something. If you shoot at him, you may damage the controls which operate the base's missiles. We can shoot him, we can charge, or we can take cover. Screw it, I say shoot him. What's gonna happen? Oh, we have to pick who takes the shot. Well, I mean, Worf's our main guy, so we're gonna let him take the shot. Worf shot is true, the technician collapses. His blood-flecked lips curl in a smile. That's quite the mental image. If the missiles won't fire on Chicago, they won't fire at all. He grabs a grenade and pulls the pin. You can either dive on it or run for cover. Will anyone make the sacrifice? Yeah. And then we're just going to pick whoever has the most hit points, because someone's about to dive on a grenade right now. So that's going to be old Commander Riker over here, and we'll see what happens. He takes 11 points of damage. Well, that's no big deal. I muffled the explosion. You set the missiles to anti-ship mode. Yeah, and now the missiles are shooting down the enemy spaceships. So yeah, all right. We got 2,000 experience points, and so we've completed sort of this first mission. Like, this game is really kind of split up into little discrete missions, and that was the first one. That took like, what, 45 minutes? Like, that's not bad. And so one thing I guess I kind of didn't really mention is, part of the reason that I wanted to play this game is that I think it's really an underappreciated game on the Genesis. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that people who have never heard of it just see, oh, Buck Rogers, like this must be like a licensed game, and they think it's probably a bad game. And what's interesting is that even though the game is called Buck Rogers, the actual character of Buck Rogers like only appears in the game a few times. Like, you're just doing your own thing, and then like Buck Rogers shows up just to tell you like, hey man, you're doing a good job, and then he takes off. So the game really has nothing to do with Buck Rogers particularly. So I think if it had just been given a different name and was just sort of this space-based, turn-based role-playing game, it might have been more popular. For all I know, it was popular. I don't really know. All right, so we're paraded to a shuttle, and we're taken to Salvation 3, which I think is like a space station, up in space, obviously. So I'm just checking the chat again. Akil says, are you having fun playing this? Well, this is like one of my favorite Genesis games, so certainly I'm having fun playing it. I mean, if it looks fun to you, you should try it. I mean, just fire it up in an emulator or something. So, don't go run and buy it. Technically, Geordi was already blind. Well, that's very true. Drewbo says he's working on his latest Raspberry Pi build. Yeah, I built a Raspberry Pi. It's pretty fun. Is there something in particular you're doing with it? I mean, is it just a regular Raspberry Pi, or are you putting it inside something interesting? Or James says, I don't mean to come off in any way arrogant, but I think CGQ videos require a refined taste to enjoy, as well as an interest in games from the golden age. Yeah, I mean, assuming you mean to be typing CGQ instead of VGQ. Yeah, I mean, definitely if I, based on a lot of the comments that I get on my videos, it's definitely not for everybody, so, yeah. Otero, if you ever decide to make a new avatar for your channel, please keep me in your thoughts. I know that art by the iconic Steven Azar, but it would be awesome. Well, actually, I would like to make a new banner for the channel. So, if you want to, work on that together, please feel free to shoot me an email, and we can talk about it. But I'm really not a fan of the banner on the YouTube, the main YouTube channel. The side channel, I don't care. At this channel, I don't care as much about. Although it'd be nice to have new art for this, but we could talk about it. I don't really want to just accept it for free, but if you do commissions, then that's something that we could definitely discuss. MJKVT finally caught a live stream. What's up, man? Glad you like the flashbacks. The choice you made to shoot was very Kirk-esque. Heck yeah, it was. Morpheus wants to know, are you thinking of including 80s and 90s arcade gameplay at some point in the near future? I didn't play too much. I didn't play too many arcade games by then. I had kind of turned into a home console gamer. Certainly we have to talk about like Street Fighter 2 and whatnot, but I'm not really sure whether games I would talk about on Flashback, although it would be fun to play those games just as like a live stream. Does this game have Whoopi Goldberg in it? No. You love my Game Boy videos, Jim. Thanks. That's pretty awesome. I still have a little bit of Game Boy to talk about, but I don't really know how to fit it into a flashback episode, so I have to kind of think about that a little bit. Yeah, Dune. I never played Doom 2000. I played Dune 2 for the DOS PC, and that's a really good game. So I haven't played Doom 2000, like I said. Brandon says it makes him want to play Star Control 2. I haven't mentioned it, but I think if I had to make a list of what I thought are like my top 5 best games I ever played, Star Control 2 would definitely be on that list. So, Akil apparently is watching this while he's at work. That's awesome. MJKVT, I'm jealous of the basement setup. Yeah, when we bought this house, the basement was not unfinished, but kind of barely finished. I might just do like a quick video on this channel of just like a little basement tour or something. But it didn't really cost too much money. We did a lot of the work ourselves. Obviously, I paid for somebody to come in and put in the carpeting, and I paid for someone to put up the drywall, because I don't know how to do that. But if you have a basement in your house that's unfinished, if you finish it, I mean, you're basically adding a whole new room to your house, so it's pretty awesome. All right, I think that about catches it up. Yeah, Star Control 2 for top 5. I mean, as far as games that I've played, yeah. So I think Star Control 2 is an amazing game. Okay, so back to the game. A Neo officer greets us, and so yeah, Carlton Tarabian, he runs the place, so we're going to see him a lot for a while. When you're ready, come see me at headquarters for your first assignment. So we're going to end up getting, assigned our first mission. But it says when you're ready, because basically we can now go run around this space station. We can go into the bar there. But more importantly, we should be able to go to a shop. And yeah, right here. And then we can sell all the crap that we picked up off of dead bodies. And then we might be able to also buy some new weapons. Yeah, we got some new weapons here. So I think if I click... I haven't played this game in kind of a while, so yeah, so we have all these extra laser guns. So basically you pick those up and you just drop it on that $sign there. And you can see that we're getting 167 credits per gun, which is actually quite a bit if you think about how much money we were making, how much cash we got as a bonus for winning the battles. So this is actually lining our pockets with quite a bit of extra money, which is good because I'm about to buy some new stuff. Although you see, these guys are wearing spacesuits, but we're carrying smart suits, so actually we want to change those over. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that everybody... well, I don't know how many smart suits I'm carrying, but certainly we want to make sure that we give people as many smart suits as we can. So, I mean, unfortunately, this is probably not fun to watch, but we have to just kind of get through all. This is the kind of stuff that you just kind of do in between missions. So again, we're going to put a smart suit on Dr. Crusher here, and then sell all of this stuff. See, times like this is when I could use like a guest on the show, so that I had somebody to talk to. You know, going back to, you know, I was talking about you know, wanting to put the show into the flashback episodes into podcast form. Actually, I'm gonna hang on to those. You know, I was kind of thinking about maybe making like some special podcast episodes too. Although, you know, I could still upload them to YouTube, so I mean, people could watch them either way. But like one of these ideas I kind of had for a show I could do, or just like episodes that I think would make better podcasts than maybe YouTube shows, is to like interview other people, like maybe other people on YouTube, or even just other people who are not on YouTube, and talk to them about their gaming history. Because that's kind of like a big part of what, you know, the flashback episodes are about, right? Is me talking about my gaming history. And, you know, for me, like a big part of the reason that I like, you know, for instance, Bithead 1000's channel, is that he tells a lot of stories from when he was growing up, you know, and I like, you know, I like hearing those. Because same as you guys, like I like to hear somebody else's story so that, you know, I get to kind of have that feeling of nostalgia. And so I just thought it would be kind of cool if, I think we're done. If we could kind of do that, but just have it in like little individual episodes, right? And just say, oh, you know, today we're talking to, you know, my friend Todd, or we're talking to Greg Seward, and, you know, just spend like an hour and a half, you know, talking about that person's gaming history. Like what kind of games did you grow up with, and what are your memories from back then? So I might end up giving that a try. So, all right, so here we can buy smart suits. I think everybody had a smart suit, I don't remember. And then you can see you can buy these different weapons like laser pistol, heat gun, needle gun. So my favorite weapon in the game has always been the needle gun. So for now at least, I'm gonna give everybody, I'm gonna give everybody a needle gun. Just because I always thought that was pretty cool. And then I accidentally gave somebody 2 needle guns, and then somebody else didn't get one. So, and then I'll go ahead and actually equip those. So there are times though when the needle gun does not work, if I remember correctly, because you're in some kind of weird magnetic field. So you don't want your only projectile weapon to be a needle gun. So that's who didn't have one. Is everybody falling asleep out there by now? I'll check the chat room again in a minute. I know it's been a while. I guess I should have watched somebody else live streaming an RPG so I could see what they do to make it entertaining. All right, let's go. I don't know if we're going to buy anything else from this clown. Rocket pistol, I don't really care. Cutlass. Poison antidote. I don't think we're going to run into have a need for that for a while, but let's just carry one just in case. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's all we need off of this guy for now. So all right, I'm going to stop for a second and check out the chat again here. Jim, do you play Game Gear at all? If you're talking to me, I told a story a while back, maybe it was on a magazine read-through, about how I almost bought a Game Gear when I was a teenager. And I had the money saved up, and I went to the store, and they were out of stock. And I ended up spending the money on something else. I never got a Game Gear. So I think that I find the Game Gear now pretty rough just because the screen is so bad. If I could get a Game Gear with the modded screen in it, I would really like to do that. And that's just a matter of ordering one, I suppose. So I know the Game Gear has a lot of good games on it, but I really don't have enough experience with the system to even have any favorites. So Akil says Star Control 2 for the 3DO rules. Yeah, I have that version of the game. I actually don't have a physical copy of the PC game, but I have it. I found that game for $5 in a game store about 20 years ago. So really awesome game. I actually kind of don't like the voices though, just because I'm used to playing the DOS version. So, but that just comes back down to personal preference. This has to be early Genesis. Yeah, it's 91, so it's pretty early. Yeah, the graphics definitely aren't the best, but that's because this is based off of a PC game from the 80s. And these graphics are a little bit updated, but not too much. Like I said, I think this is based on the Amiga version of the game. Vinny says, watching you play makes me wish I kept my Genesis. Well, you should get a Genesis, man. I don't think, Genesis systems I don't think are too much money, are they? I hope not. Best co-host for you would be Tyler from My Retro Life. Yeah, that would be cool. Actually, I've never talked to him, but I've watched some of his videos, and he seems like a really cool guy. So, but it seems like, I mean, his whole channel is really based on, his gaming experiences from the past, right? So, but yeah, it would be cool to talk to him. Jet Maximum, have you ever played Alien Soldier for the Genesis? Yeah, I actually played it this weekend, believe it or not. So, Pletchmeister says I'm sexy as F. Well, if you say so. Hopefully my wife thinks so. Is the merchant black? I don't know. I didn't see him. The guy that runs the space station is black. So Morpheus wants to know if I ever owned a Genesis Nomad. I never bought a Nomad, but I remember seeing them on the shelf at Toys R Us. Yeah. Salvation's Medic. Okay, everybody, you walk into the medic thing and then everybody gets restored to perfect health. And then let's just go check out the bar real quick. Probably like 1997. You could go into a Toys R Us and we're getting a drink. You are in the Salvation Lounge. Mango, you get a drink. Sometimes you hit this over and over again and something will happen. You'll hear like, oh, here you go, rumor. I hear a RAM packing company lost their contract for Jenny containment units. Yeah, okay, whatever. Like 1997, you could still go into Toys R Us and there would still be some Genesis stuff. Most of it was on clearance. Like I remember seeing Castlevania Bloodlines, but it was like the cardboard box version, and you could still get Nomads. And in fact, I remember picking up the box for a Nomad, and I was really tempted to get one. But by then I had a PlayStation already, and so I just ended up never really getting one. So, yeah, you can play Master System games in the Game Gear for the adapter. That's true. Genesis consoles go for about $30, so that's good to hear. Genesis was always, even once the retro gaming craze started to take off, Genesis games and systems always stayed cheap. And so it kind of drives me nuts that I'm starting to see Genesis games getting pretty expensive. Like, it seems like there aren't too many complete in the box Genesis games that you can get for less than $20, and that's kind of annoying. You ever think of allowing your viewers to participate in your flashback episodes? I don't, not really. I mean, I don't, I know that when I watch other YouTube channels, that's not the kind of thing I would really want to watch. So, so I guess no. It's not, that's not to say I wouldn't, maybe try it sometime or something, but, I guess I wouldn't want to have to relinquish control of the show by having somebody else on. So, Vinny says he plays a lot of Genesis now, thanks to Classic Gaming Quarterly. Well, that's awesome. All right, so now we're going to go into the headquarters here, and we can talk to the guy. First, let's save our game, because we have not saved our game pretty much since we started. I just have to remember how. I'm going to stand like over here or something. Press start. Okay. So we'll save our game, and since this is our first night playing the game, let's try to get our first mission from this guy, and maybe we can complete that, and then maybe we should call it a night. It's 5:40 here already, so we've been playing for about an hour. I just wanted to get to the point where you get in the ship and you're out in space. That's pretty awesome. So take a tug out and explore the debris in the Earth's near orbit. If you find something unusual, investigate. Now I'll turn you over to our training staff. So what happens is, you know, you get all these experience points, but then you have to get turned over to the training staff. And that's where you can kind of upgrade your characters a little bit. And I don't know why, I just noticed it's kind of a cool little detail. You see this guy has a little scar over his, I don't know, I just think that's kind of a cool little, it's like I was saying in the last magazine read-through about some guy had like a big fat ring on his finger. It's just like, it's cool when artists take the time to put a little extra detail like that. So anyway, now the party's getting turned over to the training staff. And so you can go train characters. So you have to go through to each one. So Picard here got enough experience points to go from level 1 all the way up to a level 3. So that's pretty cool. And now we have like 4 more of these little tokens that we can put on stuff. So because he's a rocket jock, we want to make sure that he's getting trained in rocket jockery and also in repair rocket, which you'll see why that's important later. And I could swear zero gravity maneuvering has something to do with repairing the rocket. I'm not really positive. So basically we just have to go through real quick. I mean, everybody's going to get upgraded to a level 3. So we just have to go through real quick and you know, add some more skills. I like everybody to be trained in first aid and in repair rocket, because that will come in handy out in the field. I guess I can't put more than 2 on. Oh, there you go. All right, so yeah, I mean, we want to make sure that she is like fully trained up as quickly as possible on you know, first aid and whatnot. Because, you know, when you're out in the field, if somebody gets killed, you know, having somebody who knows first aid is really your only shot at not dying. So, like some of this stuff like programming, I'm not really sure what that does, or fast talk. So I usually just kind of ignore those. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, like, Data is a rogue. I know that doesn't really have anything to do with what Data would actually be, but you need to have a rogue in your party, so. All right, so everybody's all trained up. So you see that wasn't too bad. And so now we just have to go out to like the spaceport area and get in the ship, and then we're actually going to fly out in space. And so that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and save my game again real quick. Yeah, Herzog Zwei. I actually have Herzog Zwei. I haven't really totally figured out how to play that game though, but I would like to check it out. Yeah, the Genesis does have cool sound. You know, I haven't installed it yet. I feel bad because I got one of the first. I think we can't go down here, right? Yeah. I got one of the first kits from Firebrand X. I got like the Sega Genesis amp upgrade that gives the Genesis better sound. Or just cleans up the sound, makes it not scratchy. And but I haven't installed it yet, so I feel bad. It kind of got not wasted on me, but it would be better if I had put it in. But it's kind of complicated because I have to completely desolder at least one of the chips. So I mean, at least for me, because I'm not really, you know, an expert at that kind of stuff, it's going to take me a couple hours. But I'm going to put that in this Genesis. This is like my recording / streaming Genesis. So like this one's had the jail bar fix done to it. It has a line level stereo out already in it, although this is going to upgrade that. So, all right, anyway, now we're in the Salvation Port area. So we're going to hit launch, and we're actually going to get launched out into space. It's going to be pretty awesome. He says, good luck on your first mission. Well, you know, thanks, man. So remember that we're looking for space debris that's orbiting Earth. So, do we not get to fly in the ship yet? Well, that sucks. You found, I think we will in a minute though. So you found a derelict spaceship drifting amongst the debris. It has no markings, and oh yeah, this is how you get your ship, because we took one of the space station's ships. So There's we found like this ship just floating in space. We dock and we enter the ship. So sorry if I got everybody excited. We don't get to fly the spaceship yet, but we will. So this might actually kind of take a while. I don't remember, but we have save function, so we can stop at any time. Signs of fierce combat are apparent. Dark spheres float past and smear against the stained walls. Whoever did the writing for this game, I have to say, was actually pretty good. Oh my God, look at that. A body rises, translucent in the red light. Glowing globules spiral away from the figure's flailing arm. Wow. Like, I want to take a screenshot of that and, like, make it my avatar on Twitter or something. That looks awesome. It screams and passes through the left wall. Silence descends again. So, sometimes I used to play this game, like, at night, like, out in the living room. And it would actually creep me out a little bit. You know, when stuff like this game did a good job of sort of setting the atmosphere. So, the rumble of the ship's weapons firing. Why would that be happening? So now we just gotta like walk around here and explore. Basically, you can go up to all these little control stations and check stuff out. But I mean, basically, we need to explore all the different floors of the ship, and we're still gonna get into random battles with these crazy-looking space creatures. Unfortunately. So now we got our needle gun. I don't know why I like the needle gun so much. It's just sort of, I don't know, just the idea of a needle gun is pretty awesome. You know, now that I think about it, I think I remember why you want zero gravity maneuvering, is that that dictates how many spaces you can move when you're out here in space. So because you saw there that LaForge could go quite a bit farther than, like, so this guy, Worf, can only move 2 spaces. And that's because we're in this zero gravity. So certainly I think next time we're able to level up our characters, we should probably add some more zero gravity maneuverings. That makes the battles quite a bit easier. Well, I guess I can read the thing. I'm just going to hammer the C button at this point, so maybe it's not data, maybe it's lore. Yeah. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I don't think I think I've played Subterranea. Yeah, that game's not bad. Yeah, Pete says he says, to be honest, it's kind of cool how each system had a unique sound. That I agree. You know, I think just in general, it was cool how each system really had its own personality, and they really don't anymore, at least in my opinion. Somebody else can tell me they think I'm wrong, but I just feel like, you know, you can buy a PS4 or you can buy an Xbox One, and yeah, they have some of their own exclusive games, or, you know, maybe a lot of their own exclusive games, but I just feel like those systems just don't really have their own personality anymore, you know? Like, do you think kids, and I'm asking as someone who doesn't have kids, but, I mean, do kids still get into arguments on the playground about, you know, which system is best? I just feel like it's, the whole home console scene is just not as polarizing as it used to be. Which I guess is not, you know, last thing you need to do is give kids like one extra thing to fight about, really, right? But, you know, I just have a lot of cool memories of, you know, having those arguments on the playground. So, hey, Weenito, what's up, man? I'm your new favorite YouTuber. That's pretty awesome. Thanks. Sweet. Oh, is the arcade cabinet in the background? Here, you can... Oh, wrong way. Yeah, there it is. My arcade cabinet there. I took pause at your comment too, Pete. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we won the battle against the crazy slime creatures there, so now we can move on. Oh boy. Defense robots arrive. You've been... All right. Well, now we got to fight again. Seriously. I'll tell you right now, no matter what happens, once we finish getting the ship, I think that's going to be it playing this game for tonight. But I guess I'm gonna kind of leave it up to you guys to let me know. I thought it would be cool to keep playing this game and to try to beat it over the course of, you know, several live streams. And like I said, I think it would be cooler if maybe each live stream we just did like one mission of the game, and then out of range. Well, we can't do anything with her. And then move on and play something else. But you know, it's funny. I don't want to play too many sports games, I guess. But you know, a viewer named Michael from up in Portland sent me a copy of Madden '93 Championship Edition, which is like that really rare, like it was a rental only game. And I just thought like that would be really cool to stream. I actually played a little bit of that game this weekend. No, you can't do anything. We have to just end the turn, that's why. I played, it was the 88 49ers against like the 81 Bengals or something. And I won, but it was a good game. I mean, I won like 14-3. It wasn't that good of a game, but it was closer than the score would suggest. What's going on? When's the depression vid? I'm not gonna have a depression video. I guess I kind of understand I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube, so if like that's the thing the kids are doing now is making depression videos, like I don't really know anything about that. So Matt wants to know how many missions are in this game. I mean, kind of a lot. Like I said, it takes at least 10 hours to beat the game. So I think my intuition is that I'm probably going to keep playing it just because I'm kind of having a good time, and if I feel like if I get bored, then that probably means that you guys are getting bored too. So I think at that point probably we could always call it a day, but we'll see. Hey, Silent Bob, what's up, man? How do you find out about when I do live streams? Well, you know, like everything else with my channel, nothing is ever like scheduled. So, you know, I've been wanting to do this live stream or start live streaming this game for about 2 weeks, and this is just how long it took me to start doing it. So, you know, I do generally post about it on Twitter earlier in the day. You know, I think I posted this morning, you know, and you know, it said something about how like, you know, hey, who wants to hang out and, you know, do a live stream or whatever I said, but. Other than that, I mean, you know, I try not to schedule them ahead of time because sometimes I'm not in the mood, or like something happens where I can't really live stream anymore that night just because some scheduling thing happens. But yeah, you know, I don't like being one of those guys who's like, you know, hey guys, follow me on Twitter and follow me on Instagram and blah blah blah. But you know, really, you know, I'm on Twitter every day, and so you know, I'm you know, tweeting or whatever, or there's show updates there, or just me just making stupid tweets about stupid stuff. Oh boy, Riker's leg itches for a moment. That's gonna end up being a problem. But I forgot what the solution is, but we'll figure it out. So your ladder, you want to go up, down, stay. Let's go. I feel like going up is probably the good idea here. So yeah, anyway, you'll be the one guy who finally gets me on Twitter regularly. Well, like, listen, I don't want to get your hopes up that, you know, that my Twitter account is like the cool place to hang out or anything. So with folder reads, I've designed the ECGs to drop brain parasites as they travel, creating a minefield. Well, that sounds like that's probably going to be problematic for us down the road. Now you got more of these freaking robots, but yeah. Have you streamed any PS1 games yet? No, I haven't. And then your second question is, would I? Like, yeah. I mean, the PS1 is one of my favorite systems of all time. So I would love to stream some PS1. Yeah, I realize I think pretty much every stream I've done has been 16-bit games, just because you know, I mean, I guess 16-bit is just, those are sort of my favorite games. But yeah, PS1 live stream would be awesome. I also still, I feel like I've been talking about it forever, but I still really want to do an Amiga live stream, just because I'm guessing that, you know, probably a lot of you guys are like me, and you probably don't have much experience with the Amiga, and there's a lot of pretty cool games. Much like, you know, the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, the Amiga very much has its own flavor, and so I think it'd be cool to do a live stream and just, you know, maybe just talk about the computer a little bit, and then maybe play like, you know, 5 or so noteworthy games for the system. We need to, if you don't mind sharing what town you were living in when you lived close to Jonathan. It was in Central California, where I lived. Angel or Angel wants to know, do I like the 32X? I mean, I think the 32X is kind of cool to have now. It's got some pretty cool arcade games on it. If I had gotten a 32X around Christmas in 1994 and spent like, you know, $100 and something on it, I can tell you I'd be pretty PO'd about that. But I do have a 32X, and I'm probably going to have to record some 32X games for the Dreamcast launch episode, just because, you know, I'll be talking about the 32X just a little bit when I'm kind of setting up the story of the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, my girlfriend is getting agitated about my split attention. I must now watch AGT with my full attention to commune with her. Yeah, I totally get that, man. Like, part of the reason that I don't stream more often is that, you know, hopefully, understandably, my wife wants, you know, me to give her my full attention instead of you guys. So, I mean, she's very understanding of the whole YouTube thing I'm doing, but, you know, at the same time, you know, it's kind of a problem with me living on the West Coast is that, you know, I try to time these live streams so that it's the most convenient for the largest number of people to watch them. So, you know, if I start, like today I started a little bit early, earlier than I would have liked to. I would have liked to start this stream at like 5:30 Pacific time, and then gone until, you know, like 7:30 or something. But, you know, my wife comes home usually around 6:30 from work. And like for me, it would be a lot better if I could just not be streaming anymore when she came home, because then I could still eat dinner with her and whatnot. And I mean, she's totally cool about it. Like, she doesn't have a problem with me streaming when she's home or anything like that. It's not anything that she's doing or saying, but it's just like, you know, when you're a video game enthusiast, it's already hard enough to try to balance that with, you know, being a good husband or a good dad if you have kids. You know, if you're married to someone who's not really a gamer. And, you know, if you're trying to do something like have a YouTube channel or a podcast while you're, you know, married or have a family, it's not easy. So, you know, I try to make it as easy for my wife as I can by not having it interfere with what would otherwise be our time together, if that makes sense. Paul says, as soon as I sort out how to work out this chat, I'll be back for live streams. I mean, I don't know what problem you're having with the chat. I mean, if you let me know, I can try to help you with that. I've watched almost every video. That's awesome. I have a stack of early 90s Amiga magazines. That'd be awesome. He says Moonstone is the best Amiga game of all time. Yeah, Juanito, I don't know. I try not to give out too much information just because there's creepy people out there. And I feel like if I give out too much information about myself, that might come back to bite me in the butt. So, hey, Grant Smith Basis here. What's up, man? That's the guy that sent the first package of Tim Tams from Australia, if I have your name correct. Yeah, what does YouTube says? You never give up gaming for your girlfriend? Like, I mean, that's fine. That's the life choice that you make, but you know, that's not the choice that I want to make. So, but I mean, I totally get it. Getting any game time or a YouTuber do when you get older, yeah. I mean, yeah, PewDiePie gets away with it because, you know, his YouTube channel makes him rich, right? So, you know, unfortunately, when, what's going on here? Rooms filled with bodies, only one is human, leans against the far wall, clasping a log in his hands. Contains the name Vilnikov, a Sigma number, and a plan to control the HEZs of harmless gas. So yeah, I remember. So I think with this, it's something where there's all these like mutants on the ship, and you have to figure out how to release this gas and kill all the mutants. So I don't know if we're gonna have time to finish this whole thing tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, what I was saying, when you're Riker notices a slowly spreading rash. So I don't know if I should use that. What are we doing over here? That poisoning. I can't remember. I'm going to try to let Riker's rash problem get worse before I do anything about it. He gets a splitting headache. This, like I said, I'm trying to play this game without using like a FAQ or whatever, but that might end up coming back to bite me. But yeah, I was just trying to say, like, when you're someone like PewDiePie, your channel's making enough money that you can just kind of do whatever you want, I guess. Ooh, medical lab. So. Small data computers attached to the table. Oh, we found some poison antidotes. That's good. I might try giving Riker one of those poison antidotes anyway and see what happens. I just can't remember what to do here. But yeah, I was just trying to make the point that a show like Classic Gaming Quarterly would never like make enough money that I could like quit my job or whatever. I know there's some guys out there that do that, where their channel's about my size and they quit and go full time but they're probably quitting like a retail job or something. Whereas Riker awakens, screaming, eyes unfocused, and he attacks. That's not going to be good. See, I wanted to try to give him that poison antidote, but I just can't remember what I'm supposed to do here. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I forgot which one. Oh, Riker's over here. And so my point in saying all that was just, if the YouTube channel was like, if that was my job and I was, making good money at it, then that's one thing. And I could go ahead and kind of, well, first of all, I'd be home all day. So, I'd be able to work on it then. But that's not going to help, right? Yeah. She's just not going to be able to attack Riker. But for me, that's not going to be the case, and so I always have to, obviously I have to prioritize family over something like YouTube or video games. So, and if somebody else chooses not to do that, then, I mean, that's fine, you do you. But, okay, so now that we've killed Riker, if we bring him back, I just can't remember what we're supposed to do right here. Maybe if I... I used to live in Modesto. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, unless you are that guy, somebody else sent me a postcard and saying he used to live in Modesto. I don't know. All right, I want to try to go in here and see what happens. Automated surgeon manual tables. One on autopsy was performed next to autopsy. Uniform as the name Dr. Conchites. Ooh, the readout lists a protection against the parasite. Do you use the surgeon to extract a parasite? Yes. So that's the problem with Riker. Maybe he's got this parasite. So hopefully this will fix that problem. Yeah, I mean, you activate the surgeon and tone Sigma number. Oh, cool. All right, because we got that, we found that diary or whatever earlier. So that, all right, awesome. So now Riker's back to normal. Do you want to heal the team? Yeah, why not? And then let's go ahead and just save our game here real fast, since that worked out. But yeah, PewDiePie's making millions. Good for him. I tried watching one of his videos one time, and I'll just say it's not for me and leave it at that. But when he's having that kind of success, it's pretty much unimpeachable. So. Maintenance tool. Something catches your eye to either side. Well, that's probably going to be an ambush. Oh, no? All right, a paper catches your eye. I wish Dr. Williams had HCCB control. He must have recorded the information. See, so you get all these little clues, and you have to figure out what it is you're supposed to do. Like I said, ultimately, we're going to flood the whole ship with this gas that's going to kill these ECG things, and then we get to keep the ship, and this is going to become our ship, and then that's how we're going to go cruising around the galaxy. I feel like we're probably done on this floor, but I'm going to go check out this control panel over here. This is the bio-monitoring station. What do you do? Well, it's operating. We're the only humans on board. Many life forms are on deck 6. As you watch, a new reading appears. Oh boy. The Jenny pulls itself out of the air shaft and flashes towards you. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, you don't have to pause it really, so. Oh, Taro's leaving. He's going to email me on his lunch tomorrow. All right, well, that's cool. Jet, if you're talking to me, have you ever regretted selling or giving away a game? Yeah, I sold my Vectrex, and I regret it. I sold my ColecoVision, and I kind of regret that a little bit, but the main one I regret selling is the Vectrex, especially because, and I've told that story before, but especially because I bought my Vectrex off of a friend of mine, and he actually recently passed away, and so I actually have a lot. He sold me a lot of stuff, and so I do still have a lot of that, the stuff that he sold me. But unfortunately, I sold the Vectrex to fund the purchase of something else. So it wasn't just because I was being greedy or whatever, but Vectrexes have kind of gotten stupidly expensive, so I'm probably not going to be buying another one anytime soon. So, plus they take up a lot of space. So, oh, Grant Smith Bay says he finally got the HD60 Elgato. You've been recording your gameplay. Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean OBS is what I'm using right now, so that's cool. The younger audience needs to find Chris and learn what the 80s or 90s were like. I mean, well, there's definitely what happened? I mean, there's definitely some younger viewers that watch the show, and that's cool. Some people are interested in learning about game history, and other people aren't. So, Chris, that Patrick Stewart is going to be playing Picard in a new Star Trek TV show? Yeah, I mean, I saw like a headline of that, but I didn't really look into the details. But I'll definitely be curious to check that out when the show starts. I mean, hopefully it'll be good, but I would think he wouldn't do it if it wasn't going to be good. But we'll see. Jim, if you're asking me, I have not ever beaten Life Force, no. But I would like to. It's a freaking awesome game. Glenn, if you're asking me if I own a copy of Musha for the Genesis, I don't. I would love to. That's one of the few Genesis games that I don't have that I would like to have. There's many Genesis games I don't have, but I'm pretty happy with my Genesis library. But it'd be nice to have Musha. And of all things, I wish I had a copy of Sword of Vermilion, but I haven't gotten around to buying it. So, all right. We're at the main security console. A rogue could bypass the program and shut down the robots. Do you try? Well, why not? We have a rogue. That's Data. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, nice. All right. It worked. And we got 250 experience points. So what that means is that we're not going to get any more of those security robots attacking us. So hopefully that means fewer random battles, but we'll see. And then I don't know if there's anything else to do on this floor or not. Ooh. Yeah, Scott.DOS. I forgot about this guy. I was trying to defect to Neo when security detected me. So like somehow this is like this guy who like lives in the computer system, but he ends up kind of becoming your sidekick or something. The program sealed me in this console. I can help you if you connect me to the next panel. Well, that's no problem. Tell the ECGs are defeated. We cannot escape. They will soon molt to stage 3. Well, we don't want that. Argon gas would be effective against ECGs. Any would be on decks 1 or 4. feed it into the air pumps. So I don't actually know which deck. I don't know if anybody noticed which deck we're on, but nope, wrong door. So now he's gonna start giving you all these updates about, you know, these mutants are like transforming or upgrading or whatever. Your ladder, where do you want to go? So I go up. He's gonna tell me. All right, we're on deck 6. We don't want to be on deck 6. We want to be on deck 4. I'm gonna check the chat here real quick. Again, I don't know if you're just asking the whole chat. My favorite TurboGrafx 16 game. Wow. I wish I had my collection in front of me so I could look. I really like Soldier Blade a lot. That's definitely one of my favorites. Dungeon Explorer is another one. I really have a soft spot for. Let's look right here for the Argon. I really have a soft spot for the Legendary Axe, and that's because back when I. Back when I first got into RGB gaming, I built my own RGB amplifier, like on a breadboard, just based on. I mean, I didn't like design it myself. I just followed some instructions online, and I hooked it up to my TurboGrafx into the expansion port on the back. And I had this whole crazy setup like kludged together. And the first game that I played was the Legendary Axe. And so that was the first time I ever saw a TurboGrafx 16 game in RGB. Was Legendary Axe, which is really good choice just because it looked really good. And all right, we're on the engineering deck. Remember, we're looking for Argon. I'm probably forgetting some TurboGrafx 16 games that were favorites of mine. This room is filled with innumerable pieces of equipment and supplies. Well, is one of those Argon? Oh. You locate an Argon tank, Scott says head up to deck 2. Okay. Zombie and working on chat. Simple Scott. Oh, Paul, you're a Scot. You're from Scotland. That's awesome. Some cracking episodes on CGQ and CGQ Plus. Thank you. Do you own an Amiga 500 or 600 at all, mate? Yes, I have an Amiga 500 right there that my friend Todd gave to me, which was very nice of him. So I've just started getting into Amiga gaming, and like I said, I would love to do an Amiga live stream. I wanted an Amiga for a really long time, so I really like it a lot. Especially, I think, if you're into Genesis games, the Amiga is cool to have. Wow, the ship's Oasis, the hydroponics garden. That's pretty cool. Picard rumors. We better get out of here. Uh-oh. Imprisoned in the vines of an unknown plant. Small thorns penetrate the armor. The vines pulse in time to Picard's heartbeat. Well, I think we should freaking attack it. Well, that was nutty. So we're looking for the place to hook up the Argon tank at this point. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about the Amiga. I just like I said, oh boy, you know, a lot of Amiga games ended up being early releases on the Genesis, so it's kind of cool to see, you know, where they came from. But there's also a lot of cool games on the Amiga that never made it to other systems. Jim asks if any of us ever saved game boxes as a kid. You know, I didn't. Jonathan did. He used to always save all of his Nintendo game boxes. And I used to throw them all away. Nintendo, NES games, or Game Boy games, I would chuck them. Obviously, I would keep my Genesis game boxes just because, I mean, they come in these nice, you know, clamshells. So why, you know, it's obvious that you should. Oh yeah, thanks, Josh. You know, it's funny. You know, I'm not gonna say that in real life. You know, whatever. I don't, you know, use some salty language, but I don't think it's really appropriate to do it online. So, Glenn says, "Do you ever watch Bithead 1000?" Oh, boy, speak of someone that uses salty language. Do you ever watch Bithead 1000? Bithead 1000 is one of my personal favorite gaming channels. Like I love, you know, he takes you down on a trip to, you know, a memory lane. This room contains air sampling equipment. Oh, here's where we're hooking up the argon. So perfect. Okay, now what do I have to do? It's working. They're starting to collapse. The stage 3s are also affected. One is reversing the flow. They're reviving. Go to engineering and find the override. All right, so now we have to go to the engineering deck, which was down on the first floor. Fight our way down there. So kind of annoying, but whatever. Yeah, I haven't watched the newest. Bithead video yet because it just came out today, if I remember correctly. So I just got the notification anyway. So I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm sure I'll probably end up watching it tonight. I just, you know, like, you know, if you can't handle, like, you know, off-color humor and salty language, then certainly Bithead is not for you. But you know, if you can. I think he's awesome. He's a real funny, witty guy, and he also has a lot of cool stories from back in the old days. So, you know, he's just kind of a dirtier version of my channel, I guess. But he's actually somebody I'm trying to get him to come on like a live stream or something. I'm kind of trying to whittle him down. But like I've talked to him, you know, a little bit behind the scenes or whatever, and he's definitely a nice guy. But, you know, he'd be somebody that, you know, I was talking earlier about doing like a podcast where, you know, you talk to people about their gaming histories and like that. That's something I could do with him, or like, you know, Corey from My Life in Gaming is also a pretty big Bithead fan. And he's trying to get Bithead to come on one of their Sunday night live streams. And I tried to broker that deal, and I couldn't really make it happen yet. But like I said, I'm trying to just wear him down a little bit. So, you know, anybody else out there, you know, you're watching Bithead's show, you know, try to work on him with me and wear him down a little bit. Yeah, Bithead could totally be a stand-up comic in my opinion. I always wonder, like, how much of that, you know, how much of what he does is material, you know, that he thought of ahead of time, and how much of it is off the top of his head, because he certainly makes it look like it's coming off the top of it. I mean, I'm sure he has ideas of what he wants to talk about, but, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, sort of Bithead sayings that have ended up becoming things that I say, you know, in my life, you know, like, you know, squatting Volkswagens over a lit road flare. You know, like I like saying that. You know, I steal his jokes and use them with people that don't know who he is. So now we have to find out where this stupid air bypass thing is. Derek's taken off. That's cool, man. What was the first game where you were actually good at on old consoles? I don't know. When I was a kid, personally, I was really bad at video games. So I don't know if there were really any games that I would say I was good at. That's not where we want to go. Could it be right here? Ah, override can be canceled here. Who will jury rig? We want LaForge to do that because he has the highest jury rigging abilities. So examine the unfamiliar circuitry. Scott speaks. Let me explain the procedure and whatever. The creatures are free. Large numbers are rushing towards you. Oh no. You can make a stand here or abandon the deck to the ECGs. What do you do? I'm gonna retreat and see what happens. Try to make a break for it, but the genies are quicker and they attack relentlessly. Oh well. Jim, oh my god, that's a lot of those big guys. We're going to be in some deep crap right now. Definitely should have saved my game. I was definitely into Beavis and Butthead when I was a kid. Oh my goodness. We might be dying right here. I'm just going to warn you guys. I don't see how we're going to beat this many of these guys. I think we shouldn't have retreated. Although, see, these guys can't really... They don't have, like, a remote attack, so... LaForge's dead. If we can try to stay away from him, that would help. Yeah, we're in deep trouble here, so... but, hey, if we get game over here, then, you know... We can just go ahead and, yeah, we're going to have to end the live stream. We're definitely going to be dead here. So, I should have saved my game, and I didn't. So, you know, I'll just have to, you know, offline or whatever, I guess, try to get us back to this point so we can continue on with the next one because we're going to be dying any minute here now. So, but yeah, Beavis and Butthead. So I didn't have cable when Beavis and Butthead first started, but I got cable while it was on. But I used to go watch it over at my friend's house. So time is it 6:20? It's probably about time to wrap this up anyway. So, but you guys got to see the game, and like I said, I will get us back to this point. You know, yeah, you said you found the manual for this online. Yeah, here, check it out because I have it right here. The manual for this game it's like a freaking book, like, which is cool, you know. I mean, I miss having manuals like this. So you see, our team has been destroyed. RAM continues its plans unopposed. Well, that's disappointing. And then the game just resets, and then you just have to reload your game. So, so we're not going to, like I said, we're not going to do that, but I might do it. I mean, you guys can just let me know or whatever. If you want to keep playing the game, I would kind of like to, but we don't have to. Songum Warrior says, "What's in the arcade cabinet?" Right now, there's a Neo Geo 1 slot in the arcade cabinet, but I have a few other boards. I need to rewire the cabinet just a little bit, but I have Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition that I can put in, and I also have Golden Axe. That's what's, oh, you guys can't see them actually, but so you see right here, there's these boxes, and those have arcade PCBs in them, and I have Golden Axe in there, and like I said, I have Final Fight. So, so yeah. That's all I got, but like I said, I got the Neo Geo 1 slot, and I have a ton of games for that. So really, I have quite a few games for the arcade cabinet in total. So that's pretty cool. All right, so anyway, I guess we will wrap up the live stream for tonight. If this time worked for everybody, it'd be a lot easier for me to do that in the future, do sort of a 4:30 to 6:30 or 4:30 to 7 even kind of thing. Rather than starting at like 6 and going until 9, because that kind of interferes with my home life a little bit more. But that doesn't mean we can't ever do it, but this was a lot easier for me. So, yeah, I hope to have another episode of Flashback done soon. Like, I've already been thinking, like, I know what I want to do for the next episode. I just haven't sat down and recorded it yet. And then there will be a new magazine read-through coming out on the other channel this month, and then, like I said, I'm working on the launch of the Sega Genesis, the launch of the Sega Dreamcast, and I can't say when that will be out. Those videos take a very long time. I'm still writing it, so I have not done any recording or any editing, but that should start very soon. So, yeah, so that's gonna be it for now. Grant, thank you. Enjoy the coffee. Thank you again for the Makona coffee. I have been enjoying it. I haven't, you know, I finished the Tim Tams that you gave me, but I haven't even started the Tim Tams that I got just recently, just because I'm trying to not eat like cookies and stuff right now. So, so those are all still sealed, but they're just put away so that at some point I can tear into those. Yeah, go 49ers. All right, so thank you everybody for hanging out tonight, and I'll see you guys again, hopefully very soon. Maybe I'll try to stream again this week. As I always say, I promise nothing, but I really do enjoy doing these streams. So hopefully I will see you guys again soon. So thank you very much, and have a good night.